Thank you for trying the Audible Waypoints app by Dearborn Development. Do you recognize that building from the penny? Well, that's the Lincoln Memorial, and we are in Washington, D.C. on Veterans Day, and you're going to join me for a bike ride across the Memorial Bridge, and we're going to use Audible Waypoints to help us out. Here we will open the Audible Waypoints app and pull the navigation drawer from the left edge of our screen. There are no stored locations because this is a fresh installation, so we will use the overflow menu and check out what options we currently have. The first option is to store current location. That's really good for when you want to remember your parking spot outside. Then we can load routes from files. We'll open that up. This is basically how we can load GPX files from either on board our device or from Dropbox. We can manually create a new location by inputting a latitude and longitude. Audible Waypoints uses degree decimals, so no degree minutes or degree seconds or anything like that. No arc minutes or arc seconds. You can rename the location that you have just created. It by default will be named using a date and timestamp. So now you have created your first waypoint within your first location. You can add more waypoints, or you can delete waypoints, do all sorts of stuff. You can't delete your only waypoint from the details screen, but you can delete your entire location from the database. Other options in the overflow menu include import location from clipboard, which is really nice when your friends text you coordinates, and you can view the internal Google map, which does use a network connection. But let's store our current location. Again, this is really good for when you're parking or need to mark down a spot outside and come back to it later. We now have acquired a GPS lock, so now we see numbers on the right. The yellow indicates that it's a moderately accurate signal. Now we're down to 9 meters of accuracy. So we will tap on that and it stores our first item in the database. If we now drag from the left, we'll see a brand new location there with a timestamp. If we tap and hold, we can rename it to start location and hit OK. Let's swipe the drawer away and view our internal Google map. It has found our location. We are that blue dot just west of the Lincoln Memorial. We can zoom in on our map using the controls in the bottom right. Tap and hold to place a pin. Zoom out using pinching or the controls in the bottom right. And the top right corner has a Find Me button. If we click on our marker, we can store it as a new location. We will name it Veterans Day Route. Or Veterans Day Rupee. And we'll store that to the database. We won't navigate to it yet because we want to add a few more locations to our route. Once we cross the Memorial Bridge, we will place a new marker. We'll store it to the database, but we won't create a new location. We'll add it to an existing location. In this case, we'll add it after waypoint 1. And again, we will not navigate to it. Because we should add one more route, one more waypoint. Because we can't ride our bicycle into the Arlington National Cemetery, we will put a marker in order to exit Memorial Drive or Memorial Avenue. Now we can look at the details of our Veterans Day route, and we see our 3 waypoints, 1, 2, and 3. By tapping and holding on a specific waypoint, you can edit approach notes or add approach notes. These will be read to you as you are getting within about 45 meters of the actual coordinates. So we will remind ourselves to dismount the bicycle before crossing the street. We have many other options, including promoting or demoting a specific waypoint. That just changes the order. So we tapped on number 3, and we're now promoting it to number 2. And now we can demote it back down to number 3. And we will also add approach notes for waypoint number 3. We're going to say bear right and exit. Okay. Now, our start location has only one waypoint. We can tap and hold those coordinates and copy it to our newly created Veterans Day route. We'll place it at the end. Now let's launch our Veterans Day route, and we see that there are not 3 waypoints, but 4 in our route. We will now open up the internal Google map and notice that once you've launched a specific route, you now see the markers that make up the route and polylines that connect those markers. The start of your journey will always be the more transparent of the markers, and they become more opaque as you continue your route and until the final point, which is 100% opaque. You can tilt the map by double tapping and dragging down, and you can rotate it again using 2-finger touch. You can change the map type. Again, it helps to have a network connection. In fact, this won't work unless you have a network connection or you pre-cached it. But you have various options for map types. They're all based off of the Google Maps engine. So this route looks simple enough. Let's get back to our main application view. Here we see various aspects of the main display. You have the proximity to your destination right in the middle, it says 95, and then you have a directional arc which tells you where to go. More on that later. If you tap on the target location or the current location, it gives you options to share either your current or your target location. You can switch off your navigation at the top right, which saves battery if you're not navigating at the moment because it turns off your GPS antenna. Now, before we go on our bike ride across Memorial Bridge, let's look at how Audible Waypoints integrates with CGO. I like to use the live map within CGO. Zoom out, and yeah, it looks like there are plenty around here. Use the overflow menu to show on external map and select Audible Waypoints after you've chosen a specific cache. And now we have launched that specific cache in Audible Waypoints, and we see it is 387 meters straight ahead. Our heading is northeast, and our bearing is east-northeast. Heading means where the device is pointed, and bearing means your azimuth to the target location. So let's exit our navigation to the geocache. We will also exit CGO. And before we head out on our bike across Memorial Bridge, let's re-enable airplane mode. This is not a necessary step, it's just to demonstrate how well Audible Waypoints works without a network connection. We'll launch the internal Google map to take another look at our route. We have a transparent marker. That's our first marker. It's about 95 meters away. We will go across the bridge to waypoint number 2 and then end in front of Arlington National Cemetery with waypoint number 3 before our return back to where we are right now.
Audio enabled. Waypoint 1 is 95 meters south-southwest.
We have a few controls at the top of our main navigation view, one of which is the audio switch that we just turned on to give us contextual audible information as we go along our route. There's also the directional switch, which lets us reverse our route after we get to the end or at any point to retrace our steps.
Your speed is 9 kilometers per hour. You are approaching waypoint 1 of 4.
Once we're within 45 meters of a waypoint, we'll be informed that we are approaching that waypoint.
Waypoint 1 out of 4 reached. Targeting waypoint 2, 594 meters west-southwest.
And once we have gotten within 15 meters of that waypoint, our screen flashes green, and we're considered to have arrived at that waypoint, and the Audible Waypoints app will begin to target the next waypoint. In this case, waypoint 2 has approach notes that we put on before, and that's what's flashing blue.
Waypoint 2 is 442 meters west-southwest.
That's what's flashing blue in the center of your screen there. It says dismount before crossing the street.
Waypoint 2 is 286 meters west-southwest.
As we approach our next waypoint, you'll notice that our distance to the target shrinks while the directional arcs begin to grow.
Your course is west-southwest. Maintain course. You are approaching waypoint 2 of 4. Approach notes. Dismount before crossing the street. Waypoint 2 out of 4 reach. Targeting waypoint 3, 579 meters west-southwest.
So now we're targeting our third waypoint. And let's talk about those directional arcs, because those are so important to how we navigate, at least using the visual navigation view. As you've noticed, the directional arcs are small when targeting a waypoint that is far away, and they grow as you approach the waypoint. That's an intuitive way to understand how much farther you have to go. But why are there two?
Waypoint 3 is 423 meters west-southwest.
Well, you'll notice that of the two directional arcs, the green arc is far more stable. Unfortunately, the green arc is not there when you don't have movement. So we use both to help us navigate, but when the green arc is there, it's more trustworthy.
Your speed is 25 kilometers per hour.
And the reason why the green arc is more trustworthy is that it is using your GPS readings and your movement to determine what direction you're traveling in, and therefore what direction, and therefore how you should correct your course to get to the waypoint. Whereas the white is using your accelerometer and your magnetometer, so your compass, which can have interference from movement.
Your speed is 27 kilometers per hour.
The accelerometer can get interference from movement, and your magnetometer can get interference from a car.
You are approaching waypoint 3 of 4. Approach notes. Bear right and exit. Waypoint 3 out of 4 reached. Targeting the final waypoint, 1.2 kilometers east-northeast.
So that's it for us. We've made it across the bridge. Now we have to bike back to where we started. But in the meantime, why don't you check out Audible Waypoints in the Play Store? Thank you very much.